The MA5C from Halo is more than a rifle, it's a legend. It's a symbol of fighting against impossible odds, and now it's landed right in the middle of a brutal, meat-grinder galactic war of Helldivers2. It's been there since day one for most of us Halo vets, but as we all know, legends can die out fast. So today we're dropping feet first into the battlefront to answer one important question. Is this iconic rifle worth your hard-earned medals, or is it just a gorgeous piece of nostalgia history? We're going to run it through its paces, see where it shines, where it falls apart, and give you the final word on whether it deserves a permanent spot in your armory. Before we get our boots dirty, let's look at the rifle itself. The MA5C assault rifle is the main event of the new Obedient Democracy Support Troopers, Legendary Warbond, or ODST for short. You can grab it on the first page of the Warbond for a respectable 35 medals, and the Warbond for 1,500 super credits. Now for the numbers that really matter. The MA5C hits hard with a base damage of 80 per shot and a blistering fire rate of around 640 RPM. Most importantly, it comes standard with the medium armor penetration. Its magazine holds 32 rounds, which feels a bit small compared to its Halo 3 counterparts and some other rifles in our arsenal, but don't let that fool you. And its recoil is a 19, so it's controllable, and it has an ergonomic of 60, which is pretty decent, while also coming in with a built-in flashlight and 3 firing modes of semi, burst, and full. On paper, these stats scream aggressive mid-range combat. It's not a sniper, it's not even an SMG, it's a brawler, built to crack open medium armor targets without you needing to scramble for a support weapon. Its damage is perfect for opening up medium armor threats in a matter of seconds, and is quite responsive when moving from one target to another, or focusing firing on one singular target. It also has a high ergonomic score, like mentioned before, of 60, making it feel snappy and responsive in the thick of it. And of course, Arrowhead nailed the details with the iconic ammo counter and compass on the back of it, a perfect touch for the fans. When firing a weapon, it feels heavy and impactful to use, as if you're firing it in real life. That weight really does make a difference in terms of how impactful and brutal it is against the enemies of mankind. And while it has a small ammo capacity that tends to hold this beast back, I think the devs have done a good job, with overall making it feel great to use. But stats on screens are one thing, performance under fire is what really counts. So how does this weapon do against the automatons? This to me is where the MA5C was born to fight. With its medium penetration rounds and flexibility, it has shown how capable it is against the cold iron steel of the fascist regime. First up, the little guys. Basic troopers and marauders go down exactly as you would expect. A few control bursts are more than enough to dismantle a patrol before they even know what hit them. The rifle feels incredibly stable, and the sound design is pure, satisfying nostalgia from the Halo 3 ODST. But we're not really worried about the small fry, are we? The real test is the armored elites, and let me tell you, this is where the MA5C absolutely delivers. I point it at a Devastator, and you can see its rounds punching through their chassis. You're not melting them instantly unless you aim for their heads, but you're doing consistent damage without having to hunt for a tiny glowing weak spot. As shielded Devastators drop also fast with a burst to their head or arm. Rocket Devastators, arguably one of the more bigger threats in the field, can be staggered and killed before they get a full salvo off. This is the rifle's superpower. It solves the medium armor problem, freeing you from the feeling of helplessness when your anti-tank is on cooldown and a pack of Devastators are just around the corner. It only takes one full mag to take down a few of these threats, but a well-placed headshot will provide the firepower you crave. And what about the really big boys like the Hulks? Let's be clear, this is not a Hulk killer. If you aim for the eye or glowing back vents, then yeah, you can easily take one down with a few magazine shots, but let's be clear, it's always better to use an anti-armor weapon to take these threats down instead of using your primary. It saves time, it saves lives, and most importantly, it saves ammo, because you really do need it. Of course, a review isn't complete with pointing this thing at the bug menace. While it screams bot killer, its value across the whole war is what really matters, and right away, we hit the MA5C's biggest weakness, that 32 round magazine. When a bug breach hits, You're staring down a sea of warriors and hunters, etc. That mag feels like it empties in seconds. You're constantly reloading, and in a swarm, that downtime is a death sentence. Compared to something like the standard AR-23 Liberator, with its 45 rounds, you really feel the ammo pinch. So what about the medium armor penetration? Against the bugs, it's a mixed bag. It's fantastic against the hive guards, letting you chew right through their front plate without needing to flank. That's a huge advantage when you get swarmed. Biospheres also go down much faster. The problem is, these armored bugs are usually surrounded by a tide of smaller critters. The MA5C is great at killing the priority target, but it struggles to clear the shaft. You'll kill the hive guard, but you might get taken down by the 20 warriors that were just with it as well. It's effective, but it forces you into a specific playstyle against the bugs. Less crowd control and more surgical elimination of armored targets. It works, but it feels like you're fighting the rifle's design, and you're always begging for more ammo. This is where having a backup secondary and stratagem weapon will really come in handy. And lastly, we leave the best for last, the squids. The squids are quite honestly the most balanced when it comes to our weapons dealing with them effectively. The MA5C is amazing with killing voteless hordes and watchers within a few shots, and because of its raw power, you can easily dismember them in 1 to 2 shots if you want to save ammo. This is a pro to me personally, but it's also a con, as do remember, a limited ammo against a horde of fodder enemies doesn't always go well at times, especially if said fodder keeps growing and growing. So what about the medium armor grunt, like the overseers and flesh mobs? Well, you'll be quite surprised with how strong it is with taking them out within a few shots. A few well-placed shots to the chest will down them almost instantly, making them a perfect force to use when lacking stopping power. Even against the flesh mobs, which tend to be highly not recommended to use at them, I found that weapon does fairly well against them. Around 3 to 4 full mags are enough to put one down, which will still leave you enough backup mag to continue the fight. So it does have purpose against them, but it will overall depend on what you have available to use against them. And yet, my main issue when using the weapon against the following is the low ammo overall, which hampers its performance quite a bit. As mentioned earlier, it's good against the voteless, but it's not that good against a swarm of voteless, as you do not have the ammo to sustain them from distance, or even up close. At the same time, its use against the elevated overseers can also be a pain to deal with at times because of how unpredictable the fly can be, and we all know how unpredictable they can be when trying to take them on while everything is going to hell. If the ammo wasn't such a big issue at times, it would actually be one of the best ARs to use for all fronts. I'm being quite honest here. So after all that, here's a breakdown of where the MA5C stands for pros and cons. Pro-wise, great medium armor penetration. This is the star of the show. It reliably handles devastators, hive guards, overseers, etc. A huge plus for a primary. Great handling, the rifle feels good to use, is snappy, responsive, and perfect for the close to medium ranges where most fights happen. Maximum nostalgia. Arrowhead absolutely knocked the look, the sound, and the feel out of the park with it. For Halo fans, it's an absolute joy to use, and I would love to get more weapons like this in the near future. Conzo, tiny magazine. Only 32 rounds is a real problem against swarms, leading to constant reloads and low ammo economy. Poor crowd control. That small mag and high fire rate means it's not that great for clearing hordes of weaker enemies. It's a brawler, not a wave killer. Weak versus heavy armor. To be honest, don't expect this to be your answer against Hulks, Chargers or Bio Titans. You're just chipping away at weak spots. A lot of players will ask themselves, is this just an adjudicator? Some players feel this performance is very similar to the BR14 adjudicator, which also has medium armor penetration. While the MA5C handles better, if you already love the adjudicator, you might not find this different enough, or even at all. So before we go to the conclusion, how do you get the most out of this thing? A loadout synergy is key for the game. For bot drops, since the MA5C shreds devastators, pair it with a heavy hitter like the Quasar Cannon or EAT to handle hulks and tanks. Against bugs, you need something for the crowds, The Star Walt or Arc Ferrum are great for clearing the little guys while you use the MA5C to execute armor targets. But I want to hear from you. What loadouts are you running with the ODST rifle? Drop your best builds in the comments below. And also be sure to like, subscribe and comment for more. So let's circle back to the big question. Is the Helldivers2 Halo ODST rifle worth using? The answer is a definite but qualified yes. Against the Automatons, the rifle is an S tier choice, hands down. It perfectly fills the gap of dealing with medium armored units, which are often the most annoying part of a bot mission. It empowers you to fight independently and aggressively. If you spend your time on the Western Front, the MA5C is more than worth the medals. It's a game changer. Against the Terminids, however, its value does kind of drop. The small magazine makes it a tough sell against the endless bug tide. It's not useless, but other primaries like the Sickle or Standard Liberator are just far better at controlling hordes. Against the Squids, it may struggle with dealing with the voteless in large numbers, but it does fairly well against pretty much the rest of the army. The MA5C assault rifle is a specialist tool, not a new do-it-all meta weapon. It's a fantastic, faithful tribute that excels at its job. If you're a die-hard Halo fan, honestly, just get it. The joy of using this iconic piece of gaming history is worth it alone. If you only chase the absolute best one-size-fits-all primary, you might stick with something else. But for any democracy spending Helldiver who loves dropping on the bots, the MA5C is a damn fun and brutally effective rifle that has earned its place in my armory, and probably yours as well. So there we have it. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have any thoughts on the content shared, or genuinely like what was shown, then please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more future stuff. It was great seeing you again, Helldivers, and I hope to see you again soon.